Hello, and I would like to welcome everybody. I'm Judit Polgar, and I would like to invite you to the next episode of Chess Studies, where we like to discover the inside secrets why endgame studies are an artwork. Just as amateur players love endgames and also professionals. It gives them joy and happiness, as in some of the other episodes we discovered. My next guest is going to be someone who was a participant at the Chess Artistry Competition, which is part of the Global Chess Festival for 2021. And please welcome him. He's from Israel, Itai Richardson, and you're just 15 years old. Can you tell me a little bit about how you started? How did you get involved in creating study? Welcome.
Yes, of course. My grandfather, he is a very well-known composer. He is about 75 years old, and he composed many studies. And ever since I was very little and started getting interest in chess, he would show me his studies and studies of his fellow composers. And yeah, that's how I got into studies. And lately, about a year and a half ago, I started composing on my own.
Were you starting solving problems first and only after that composing, or were you doing at the same time?
About the same time, I started solving about 2 months before I composed my first study.
Hmm. You are an amateur player of around 1600, if I'm correct.
Well, my FIDE rating is about that, but my national rating is more like 1800.
Okay. And how do you think, what do you consider, why is this possible for you as not a master or a grandmaster, but still you're able to create some wonderful themes, ideas, compositions, which makes also the grandmasters, you force them to have a thing because there are some great ideas in your study.
Well, especially it's because I have plenty of time to do it, and I don't need to like concentrate for a single moment. And for example, I can, I don't know, finish the day, go to bed, and suddenly an idea pops into my mind. I mean, I have all the time in the world to think of ideas,
And
different
how
from
do
a
you
game.
work on them? How do you work on them? How long do you work on a study? For example, the study you're going to be showing us.
Okay, so about it, I think I worked a few days. I think it was. At first, I got a very simple idea of one of the last moves of after
Hmm.
b8 queen. After you'll see soon.
Well, we're going to
You'll
see
show
that.
us soon. Yeah, and it was first. It was a bit different. It was also shorter, and then I suddenly saw that I could change something and get to something a lot nicer. And slowly, every day I would add a bit more. I found I can add one move backwards, yeah, to show what happened before one move, and slowly, one day by day, and I got to the final position.
And what is the most satisfying for you in creating a study? Which part of which phase of it? When you come, your idea at first, or the progress when you discover new things?
I think every part is very much satisfying for me.
Which was the point when you showed to your grandfather?
I'm sorry.
Was there any point where you showed it to your grandfather?
Oh, every time I make even the slightest progress, I immediately call my grandfather
Okay, so
and
is
show
he
him.
mentoring you? He's supporting you and inspiring you to do more.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
Well, he should be proud of you because you made something very special. And before we see, I just want to say a few words about this because in the chess artistry competition, there were nearly 50 compositions from the world's best composers of chess studies. And out of this, John Nunn, who was the judge of this competition, gave the fifth honorable mention to you. And I think it's something fantastic, which we are also going to be seeing just now when we're going to have our chessboard with us. And I have the nice role and able to show you some of the great and fantastic ideas. So, Itai, I'm asking you, please describe the basic position. What do we see?
Okay, so black is up two pieces for a pawn, but white has a very big compensation. These are two things. One is the very strong pawn in b6, that it's very close to promotion. And the next thing is the vulnerability of the king. Black king is very vulnerable.
Okay, so thanks for describing it. I think you said everything. The main important message here that white is behind in material. At the same time, I can say that our king on d3 is not just as much vulnerable or possibly as black, but it seems that still the white king is in safer parts. So first of all, I want to show you b7. So this is the first move. It's pretty straightforward. You have a passed pawn. You want to queen, right? So in this position, it is something that it could happen a year ago in any tournament between amateurs or between strong players. This is exactly what I like when I see something which is practical, which I can relate to, because it can be time travel and things are happening fast. So after b7, there are several ways for black to continue. Right now, there is a main move of bishop e2, but first we're going to see one of the options if black would be defending with queen e8. So trying to look for counter chances on the e file, because right now, if white would queen, then white would get checkmate with queen e2, and it would show that really white king is also quite vulnerable. But this is not the case, because after queen e8, white has already a move with a check, queen f5 check, forcing black to play d5, and it seems like black is just in time with everything and there is no check which black should be scared of. Actually, there is. And also, I think tactics is something which is essential in chess studies. How much do you like tactics, Itai, in a
Oh,
study?
very much.
Are you focusing on that specifically? So you're looking for those kind of studies, or
Yeah, mostly.
something else you prefer?
Mostly that. Sacrifices under promotions and those kinds of stuff.
So here we see that white is now queen c8 wins because the pawn on c6 was deflected, and now the b7 pawn will win and queen, because black takes, and there is a little small touch to it because black has no harmony between his pieces, the rook and the bishop. So after queen f8, black is losing extra material. So this was the what happened if black would try to look for counter chances with queen e8, but he can go with bishop e2, giving up a bishop, deflecting the king, and look for other options. King takes e2. And now again, black has several options. In this position, I would like to show what happens if knight g3, king d3, and black goes again with a similar idea, playing queen e8. Again, now not with the bishop, which supports the queen, but it would be knight, which supports the checkmate on e2. So white cannot queen for the moment. But white can go rook c4, king d6, b8 queen, which is very important, deflecting the queen from the defense over the d7 pawn, and then just playing rook d4, king c5, queen e7, and after that giving another check, and then rook b4 would win the poor queen on b8. So this is, again, black cannot play knight g3 because he would be losing. So the main move is to give a check on e8 immediately, pushing the white king back to d3, and to try to deflect some of the attackers of white camp, like the b4 knight, which supports very actively to queen the b7 pawn. So this is why black goes knight f4. White is busy to capture the knight on f4, but already now white has an extra pawn, right? So we gained back two pieces, which was an extra for black. And now again, black has several options. Now I would like to highlight if black would just play the quiet move of rook b3, trying to capture the pass pawn on b7. After that, the black rook can get into trouble because of rook c4 check. And after king b6, when trying to hide, then king c2, the simple, very quiet move, pushing away the rook on b3. And after that, already again, the rook can, well, b8 first, and after that, rook b4. So the rook goes back to its initial square where it supported the b pawn, right? So again, this is not possible for black to play rook b3. But it is very important in studies to find the defensive move. How much are you paying attention, Itai, for the defensive ideas in your studies?
Lately, pretty much most of my studies have some counter sacrifices by black.
Okay, so you are a big fan of sacrifices, definitely, as I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how the defensive ideas go forward. Rook takes c3, and the idea is that after king c3, black has now several moves. Now, there are different moves how to try to save the game, looking for perpetual check, but let's see how it goes if queen e3. After queen e3, white has a beautiful move queen d3 with the idea that after queen f4, when black is actually just happy to defend, and he thinks that I just stopped the pawn on b7, so there is no check, nothing, and in the next move I'm going to be the one who starts checking. Now still white goes b8, sacrificing the pawn with the queen sacrifice. And after queen b8, queen d4 with the pawn down, white can give checkmate. So this beautiful a4 little pawn serves very well in this idea, right? So after king c3, there are other options. The main line goes with queen e5 check. And after king d3, white has to be moving away his king, then queen takes f4. So now the interesting part comes that the white king is at least as vulnerable as black's one. At the same time, the b7 pawn is still there, but the f4 queen is just stopping that. So how white can really still win the game? This is the big question. Now queen e7 check. Which part was ready for you in this study? Did you have the final part, which we are going to be seeing now, or you started it from the beginning?
At first, I only had a position after in two moves from now after b8 queen. We'll
Okay.
see.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for spoiling it. And after that, I discovered one move before that, and slowly, I made progress backwards
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
until I got the
Okay, so
initial position.
after queen e7, there is not much of an opportunity for black. So he goes king b6, trying to capture the b7 pawn and hoping that nothing wrong will go on for him. But actually, there is something really bad happens to black after white's move. And also, I suggest to our viewers to pause the video and try to figure out how is it possible to win the queen or to give it checkmate just in a few moves, even though it seems like it that black is saving the game because of the strong queen on f4 stops the b8 and also the king on b6 attacking the b7 pawn. But of course it's a study, so there's something special has to be in it, right? Queen b4, sacrifice the queen in order to promote to another queen. And right now it's important to see that if black goes king a5, then again the a4 pawn is serving such a big thing, queen a7, and it's a checkmate. So instead of queen a5, this is why black goes king c5, protects the queen on b4, and hoping to have even a better position because now he has an extra pawn on d7. But things are not as black is hoping for because queen f8. Right now, black cannot move away with his king because then the queen would be hanging and captured. So black has to go d6, queen f2 check. And unfortunately for black, there is no way out on b6, on b5, on c4, but the only move is king d5, which after queen f5, checkmate. So congratulations with this wonderful study because I liked it very much, and it seems so that John Nunn, the judge, also appreciated it very much. What are your plans in the future? Do you have any study yourself which you're working on?
Yes, I have a few.
Okay, so you work at the same time on different
Yeah,
studies?
just ideas don't stop to pop into my head.
Ah, okay, so it keeps you busy.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a moment when your grandfather tells you an idea that, well, I have an idea, but I don't feel like working on it, make something out of it?
All the time.
Ah, okay. So sometimes he's the originator of the idea, and then you're going to execute it and serve it in a way as it should be.
Yes, definitely.
Are you competing in other competitions as well?
Yes, yes. I sent many studies to many different magazines.
And what is your best result so far?
I got first, second honorable mention in UAPA.
Okay. Do you think if you visualize yourself in 20 years' time, do you think you will still make compose studies?
Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I will.
Yeah. And as a final question, I would like to ask you that if you want to convince your age group, teenagers, that composing chess studies are fun, interesting, and great journey, what would you say to them? Why is it fun, and why should they try it out?
Well, I would just think show them studies, and I think that's already uh, better than even saying anything. That just is enough. Yeah, just looking at the study would convince them, I think.
Okay, so you will try to teach them by showing them some of your amazing studies and your grandfather's.
Not necessarily mine, but yeah, studies.
Well, I would like to wish you all the best. Congratulations for this one. Thank you for participating. I hope if we're
Thank you.
going to have again another chess artistry event, you will participate again and you will bring other youngsters with you who will also participate with their own because I do believe that chess studies can help generations to come in their thinking skills, to spend valuable time together and work on their decision making, their pattern recognition, and many other things which they can use also in other parts of life. So, thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you.
And for our viewers, well, this was another episode of a wonderful, great chess study. I hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to come back with more.